All right, continuing, here we go. All right, so we're still at theorem 913, which is composed of a secant and a tangent, and then that angle is equal to half the measurement of the arc. So we have our secant, which is kj. We have our tangent, which is jh, and the angle that's formed is this guy right here. Now, the theorem says we go to the sides out, and this is the arc that is being spoken about. And according to this, JLK, that's what we're looking for. So whether you give it an X or leave it as angle JLK, that's fine. But if we use theorem 913, the angle that is formed, angle J, is equal to 1/2 the measurement of the arc that makes up that angle, which is JLK. There's our arc. Well, J is 1/16. If I sub that in, just like we did for B, I have to get rid of that 1/2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, and JLK comes out to being 232 degrees for that one. All right, last one for this set of examples. So nothing's filled in, so we have to fill it in. So it says find angle RQS. So that's our X right here. But arc QTS is 238. Well, the first thing you ask yourself is, from what we have to find, which is that angle, does that arc help us? And the answer is no, because that arc is on the outside of that angle. So we have to figure out what the arc is that's inside. So we did this before. We're going to take 360 and take away the arc that we do have, 238, and that's going to get us 128. Or sorry, 122. So the theorem 19 says the angle, which is X, I'll just write X, is equal to 1/2 the arc that's across from it, which is QS. Well, X I don't know, that's what I'm finding. And then I have 1/2, but our QS we just found is 122. So when I take half of 122, I end up with 61 degrees. Okay, so we've done theorem 912 dealt with two secants. Theorem 913 dealt with a secant and a tangent. And now theorem 914 is going to deal with 3 different scenarios. 2 secants, but they look more like this image right here. A secant and a tangent, and 2 tangents. Now notice, in all 3 cases, they are starting at the same point. They all have A in common. So that picture is representational of all of them. And the nice part is the formula is the same in terms of process-wise on what you would do. So formula says it's 1/2, so you're usually taking 1/2. And in this case, if we look at this one right here, it's the furthest arc, which is DE, minus the closest arc, which is BC. So this is the furthest minus the closest. And it's always according to the angle, which is A in this case. For the second one, again, furthest, DC. So furthest minus closest, which is BC. Same thing here. Furthest, which would be BDC in this case. So furthest minus the closest, which would be BC. But they all use the same exact formula. So the most important thing is just making sure there's 3 types of formulas. I would highly suggest after this lesson, maybe write them all out on sort of like a study guide type of thing, because it definitely is going to be useful to you later on. And then it does sum everything up on the last page of the notes that you guys can take a look at. So there's 4 examples here that apply to these. And again, after today, all you're doing is asking me questions on the lesson. We went over a lot today. There's 3 different formulas that you need to go and remember. So please make sure that you ask for clarification if you do not understand. All right, so here we go. So we have, in this case, we have 2 tangents. So tangent 1, tangent 2. We're looking for L. So according to this, angle L would be equal to 1/2 the furthest arc from L, which would be this guy all the way out here. So that's HJK, minus the closest arc, which is the blue one right here, which is HK. First, write it out and then fill in what we have. So L we don't know. That's what we're finding. We have 1/2. HJK don't know for right now, but I know HK is 102. Well, first of all, you can't have 2 unknowns, so that's an issue. But this guy right here, we did 2 examples before. We have the 102, so I can take that 102 away from the 360, which is the full circle, and that'll give me what's left over, which is 258. which then allows me to have that missing arc here that we need. So now it's just a matter of subtracting, taking 1/2, 258 minus 102, take half of that, and you end up with 78 degrees for that angle right there. Let me see. Let's do C. Let's do this one next before we do B and D. All right, because this one is similar. So we're finding S right here. So according to this, angle S would be equal to 1/2 the furthest arc from S. So the furthest arc from S would be RU minus the closest arc, which would be RT. And the way that you figure that out is you follow the sides of the angle out. This is furthest, this is closest. It has to be in between the angle. It cannot be outside of the angle. So we have 1/2, RU is 179, RT is 71, and you're going to do 179 minus 71, take half of that, and that should get you 54 degrees for that one. All right, let's look at these last two. So these are, it's the same type of question, it's just where the unknown is. It's in a different location each time. All right, so for B, in this case, we have the angle. So angle A, if we write out the formula, is equal to 1/2. The arc furthest is CD, minus the arc that's closest, which is BC. Well, A is 56. CD, don't know right now. That's what we're finding. So that's our unknown. And BC is 95. So step 1, get rid of the 2. Okay, if we end up getting rid of that 2, basically you're doing double 56. So we get 2, 1, we get 1, 12 equals CD minus 95. And then if you add the 95 over, you should end up with 207 for that missing arc for that particular one. All right, last and final example, and please again reach out if you have questions on anything. So last one, we have angle Y. So angle Y is equal to 1/2. The arc that is furthest is this guy all the way out here. Now there's no point here, so let's just say we give it, I'll just give it an A. So we're going to say XWA minus the one that's closest, which is XZ. Y we have 68. 1/2 XWA is our 224 minus XZ, which we don't know. When you multiply by 2, 68 times 2 gets us 136. Okay, when you bring over the 224, you're going to end up with a negative 88. But that's okay because you have a negative on the left and a negative on the right, which means they'll become positives. And then that means that arc XZ is going to equal 88 degrees for that one.